Welcome back, Azerothians. This week we discuss the disconnect between patch and raid release, breakdown of Watcher's latest interview, and of course, our opinions on the latest news. You're listening to episode number 2 of The Edge. Welcome into The Edge for the 17th of February, 2015. I will be your host, Sean Clark, or as I'm known around Shattered Hand and Thrall, Release. I would like to say a big hello, as always, to all the folks in live stream this evening. If you're listening to this on Stitcher or iTunes and want to join us for the live show, head over to twitch.tv/The Edge Podcast every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We would love to see you all join in live, but we have a lot to get to today, so let's bring in the team. Contributing author for the Warlords of Draenor Strategy Guide, former WoW Insider writer, and, a little thing called Blizzwatch he's into now, GM and blogger, Mr. Matt Lowe. What's up, Matt?
Hello. Let's see here. Nothing new on the Mythic front, considering we're still a 0 out of 10 in that area. But we did get some heroic progression down, and I managed to take down bosses on normal, so the guild got it on normal at least.
Nice.
That's always reassuring for me, because now we have a clear framework of strategy to work with, and hopefully less of a learning curve when we get to heroic.
Awesome.
Oh, also, watch The Kingsman. Very good movie.
Guys, I want to watch that so bad.
It's very good.
Oh, man. Is it like that good?
I thought it was really good. Dude, it's Samuel L. Jackson playing a villain with a lisp.
Oh, man.
Right?
Okay, next day off. I'm going to go watch it, and I'll let you know what I think. TGN, contributor, YouTuber, Twitter fiend, live streamer. Katie, what's up?
Hello, doing well. Admittedly, I've been spending a lot of time outside Azeroth playing Destiny, but I'm stoked to hopefully kill Heroic Blackhand tonight and get into Mythic, because, yeah, it's that time!
It's that time already. Can you believe it? And last but not least, the brains behind Get a Raid, Curse Gaming contributor, and former Tank Spot member. Hi, Will. Hey.
Hey, buddy.
You sound so excited.
I am. We did kill the maidens on heroic last week, and had many great pulls on that cluster shrew called Blast Furnace.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. I'm sure you have a bit of that.
Oh my god, it's so bad,
I
man.
love that fight, though.
It's
In
so
a
bad.
sick, twisted way, I love it.
Yeah, we did some attempts on it last night on our additional raid night, and it was just to kind of take a look at it, get the mechanics down, figure out like our strats. What are you guys doing for this? Like, do you have a decent strat? I mean, we seem to be like pulling the range in the middle. We'll go, the melee goes to the left. We'll get down the big guy first, and then we'll kind of cleave and focus down the foreman fairly quickly. But then we split the DPS up because it takes 12 bombs. It takes 12 bombs to get into phase 2, and really you should have the foreman still alive, but not like you should have him right around 25%. Something in there, I think.
We're dragging him into the next phase completely.
Yeah, that's what we're... Oh, you don't even DPS him at all?
No, we do, but it's just slash cleave on one side. But we've got... Because we tried doing the, let's go do this side, and then let's go and do that side.
Right.
And it was pretty bad. And when we went back, we did the split teams, and then just drag him and some more... We put him on the side with the rogues.
Yeah. Well,
and
see...
it goes down pretty fast, so that, once we're burning the last of the guards and stuff like that from the first phase, he's coming down as soon as we're getting slags.
Yeah, and that's because we had a problem where the first phase was lasting too long and the healers are going basically on fumes into phase 2, so we started mind controlling some of the engineers, and we can now get through the phase in about a minute and 10. So, but then of course you gotta really focus down the engineers, because once the MC breaks, they enrage. Which the hit actually isn't that hard, but I can imagine on Mythic it's like it's gonna one shot you. So
A train, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the strategy for Mythic. It's doing all that fun mind control stuff and doing the right mind controls and all that.
Right.
Because you have to do it for the second phase.
Exactly.
Which is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just doing we put out of a 22-man roster, put 15 people on the right side to burn the big guy first, Feldspark, and then we would split up after that. After he was like 30%, something like that, and then do the split type of thing. We were getting to phase 2 pretty consistently, but just having problems with people not standing in the right place with those slag elementals.
Yeah, if you go
It's
into
hard
that,
to see that thing coming at you, and you're like, "Oh, I should run away." No, stand here.
yeah.
Here.
I also made a target macro for the slag elementals. That was a lot easier too, for me, because it's just such a freaking cluster, man. Especially if you're going into phase 2 not clean, it's pretty terrible. So, but that's what I did, and then we took a look at normal black hand, did all that kind of stuff just to finish out the week, and then tonight, as of right now, actually they're starting farm content. So as soon as this cast is over, I'll be joining them for that. Also been doing a little bit of Heroes of the Storm, so been doing that in my free time, having a lot of fun, and I've been checking out a little bit of Diablo 3 Season 2. So
Did you pick up the Lost Vikings?
I haven't picked them up yet. I have been watching a couple of the Blizzard employees at stream play them, and I don't really know what to think yet about them. Truth be told, they seem kind of strange. I get the point.
I just got them. I have to try them out still. But
There's not like no abilities. It's just 1, 2, and 3, and then is like one's each. Each button is each individual one, but then if you hit 4, it's all of them.
combined, yeah.
Right?
Like,
And then
yeah.
the only thing you can do is like your Viking ship if they're all together. I mean,
Which is apparently pretty OP.
I've heard it's good, yeah, in team fights.
Yeah, I've heard some complaints about them being able to like watch all the lanes so the rest of the group can go do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, but even then, if you get a decent push, you can take them out because they have very low health. So, except for, well, 2 of the 3 have very low health. So, but anyways, that's a different game, different podcast. But there's a little bit of what I've been doing. So, a couple little news bits. The Lunar Festival, I should say, has started. Goes until March 2nd. There's a couple of really cool things that you can pick up here if you decide to partake in this event. A lot of us that have been playing for a while either are sick of doing this stuff or lost everybody. Ruh-roh. I lost everyone. Everyone died.
Oh man, what did you do?
I did.
Crit for like 9,000.
Yay, all right, we're coming back on. Hey, there's one fat Matt, turn back on the camera. 1, 2. Matt's still like, nah, I don't want to do that, guys.
God, my face though.
There we go. Wah wah. All right, so what? I forgot what I was doing. There you go. That's a sign. That's a sign that I should not talk about this. Okay, Lunar Festival. You can get a couple of. You can get the Snowy Owl. It's available in the Winter Spring Zone, and of course, the Winter Spring's only available during the winter months in the game. It's required for the Kalimdor Savari achievement, which is for you achievement people. That's obviously a big deal, so you want to make sure and grab that. You can also grab things like the Lunar Lantern, the Festival Lantern, also suits and other types of cosmetic things and fireworks and silly stuff. Yep. So, also locations. So depending on where you're at, Stormwind, Thunderbluff, Booty Bay, Moonglade. Look for portals in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms as well. Okay, so that's where you're gonna be starting doing that stuff. Raid Finder, Slagworks had opened today, so the first wing of Raid Finder is now officially open. That's going to be Gruul, Ore Gorger, and the Blast Furnace. Level 6, eye level 650 gear is dropping, and you need 635 minimum to get into the queue. Any guys done the LFR yet today? I have not.
I ran this one early today.
How bad is it?
Keep thinking about it. Just keep thinking
I
about
figured
it.
I'd wait until tomorrow.
I'm always the guinea pig here, so I figured I just, what the heck? I'll jump in there. There's a couple of my gillies online. So I said, what the heck? Let's go in there into Malta and see what happens. A couple of interesting changes. First of all, you have to go to Ore Gorger. You can't go to Gruul right away.
Oh.
Ore Gorger first. And because Gruul is gated. And obviously you can't do Blast Furnace and get them all dead.
Right.
So, speaking of boss changes, Ore Gorger, he seems to run to a set direction, like a set path every time he went to phase 2. I don't know if that's intentional, but I have a sample size of 2. So maybe when you guys run it, maybe you can just kind of see if he seems to run the same direction the whole time.
How many times did you wipe on it?
I feel like that's probably intentional because it's LFR.
I think it's intentional as well. And
Do you even have to DPS the crates, or is it like he just goes out of the phase?
we did DPS the crates. I don't know if he just phases out after like 5 or so impacts or anything like that. I wasn't too much sure. But what I ended up doing was we still destroyed the crates and all that stuff, and we only hit phase 2 twice, and we ended up with 90% of a wipe. 90% of a wipe.
So what's the so what we're saying is because the when I lost Skype, I lost some of the audio. We're talking about how Slagworks just opened up and Orgorger's kind of set on a set path. Is it the path that is laid out in a lot of the videos, or is it just going to be like what kind of path is it?
It's really odd. Like he seems to go through the top quarter of the room, then down the side, then on the other side, then down to the bottom, like a Z almost. But
Okay.
I think you need to take a better. You'd probably have to run it just to get a better idea out of the actual path and whether or not it is set in stone. Because I only ran it, once, and he only hit phase 2 twice, and the routes seem to be the exact same. So I'm not actually 100% sure. Well, speaking of changes, Grill actually did not change at all. He's still the same, except his Inferno Slice is peanuts. Absolute cake.
I can
A
imagine.
tank ate one without even flinching at all, and I'm pretty sure if you really wanted to, you could stack the entire raid up into one giant group and suffer no consequence.
That's awesome.
So,
What
if
about
there's
the-
ever a boss that you want to brute force and just patchwork it and not give any kind of crap about, that would probably be it.
How bad is the roll damage on Orgorger? Just to go back here a step, I'm curious.
On Orgorger, not really damaging. The only time he'll die is
Not
when
fatal.
his what's it called, Blackrock
Barrage?
the puddle thing. No, the puddle, not the interrupt thing. The puddle.
Wretched.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that the wretch thing. Yeah, that's gonna occur when people don't stack up, and obviously it's a pickup group. No one's gonna stack up, so that stuff is gonna go all over the place, and eventually you run out of room to stand, and you can't DPS the boss. So
Oh, Alliance side, you silly people.
I know, right? Like, what is up with that?
God.
Jeez, dude.
Don't worry, it gets better when school gets out.
Oh, speaking of annoying bosses, now you get the blast furnace. You thought that was hard on heroic and all that stuff, but they did try to make a couple of changes to make it a little bit more easier. There are no elementals that you have to kill, thankfully, so you can DPS the elementalists straight up without any kind of worry. I should also warn.
I was like, I think there's a big butt on the way. Like,
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really long encounter. Even though we had everyone alive, we burned heroism twice.
wow.
Oh dear
What?
God.
It's a really long encounter.
Oh my
We had everyone alive. Like,
God.
miraculously, no one really died. So obviously part of the DPS of the group was exceptionally low. I mean, I can only do so much carry with my big, broad shoulders, right? So
Of course, yes.
of
Your
course,
spikes.
obviously.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Spite.
No, I was actually on my elemental shaman. This was lightning bolt.
Oh,
Lightning.
yeah.
No,
Lightning
Yeah,
bolt.
sure.
Lightning bolt.
yeah.
Fire blast.
But otherwise, it wasn't
Will got it.
that bad.
Yeah, I
And
got
at the
it.
final phase at the end, where he spawns those puddles on the ground, they occur really slowly. So very forgiving. You could even stand in one spot and just DPS him. You don't have to drag him around the room or whichever like that. So, yeah.
Did
So-
people even have to do the plates in the phase 1? Did they have?
Yeah,
the
you still
bombs?
have to do the plates a bit. I think
Okay.
people were still doing them. I don't know if it's actually a necessity, but people were still doing them anyways.
What
so
if
that's
they
good.
increase the range at which the bombs go off? You can still hit the plates.
Yeah,
That's a
probably.
good question.
And
I'm not
LFR.
sure. Like, if I stood at the entrance and the bomb went off, would I still trigger a plate?
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure.
mean, because I feel like they're going to make it something really kind of like convenient like that.
Yeah.
Because, it's LFR. So
Yeah.
so it sounds like Orgorger's kind of a pain in the ass. And then it sounds like that Gruul is like whatever. And then,
So, yeah,
and
it
then
goes well.
Blast Furnace is just like
It's a
snooze.
marathon. So
Yeah.
if you wipe, I mean, it's another 9-10 minutes of, oh my God, let's just kill this guy already and
Mm-hmm.
cleave everything and stuff. So I do want to make a reminder to everyone out there that's listening. The tier that drops, it is not going to stack with your bonuses from normal, heroic, or mythic. So if you want to run LFR specifically for activating your tier sets in mind, you can probably save yourself the effort. It operates on a completely different set of bonuses, things like like 400 intellect on your 2-piece or whatever, or plus 15% dam. I don't know, something
Oh,
ridiculous
they're
like that.
actual.
They're
I
different.
didn't realize that they were tiers with set bonuses. I just
Yep.
knew that there wasn't like whatever you got out of LFR didn't do you any good in the raids. I didn't realize that there were actual like bonuses. So
It's like the old school, like tier 4, tier 5
Hmm.
bonuses where it's like a static stat buff, So
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
know that I haven't looked at the updated charts, but last time I saw, rogues are actually, they get the second and third highest static DPS increase from their 2 and 4-piece respectively at about 12%. So once you hit those, it's just like your DPS is like, it's amazing. So I have yet to get my tier pieces because we don't get a lot of Vank drops. Unfortunately, we didn't get last week. So
I coined my 2-piece
Really?
between the week before and last. Yes.
I can't get anything on my coins. Like I
came
swear
a
to
little.
you, like I have the worst. Like I'm still rocking a 636 cloak and a 630 trinket. I'm not even kidding. Like
Put your legendary cloak back on.
could
Just
just-
miss, seriously.
Buy them.
I know, but I'm not gonna because the only thing I can really one of the best items, even though it got nerfed, is still the lucky double-sided coin, and even that on my server is going for like 50k, and I'm not dropping 50k on something where I could get it in BlackRock. You know what I mean? Like something that's comparable, if not better.
You could get it, but you think about it this way. You think about that investment in that coin as a way for you to get the item out of black.
I know. I don't.
Because you could be the guy that's holding your guild back right now.
I'm not that guy.
I'm saying you could be.
I could be, but I'm not that guy.
But everyone else is thinking, oh man, that Sean guy had a 655 trinket.
I know.
He
I'm thinking.
had this."
I'm thinking you should just give me a trinket. And
I mean, you say that, and then you
I
wipe
had,
at 1%,
I had
2%.
651 boots. I can't say a word.
yeah. So
I refused on principle. I had like 8 different sets of like 640 and Warforged 651 CM boots, and from like the invasions and all kinds of loot stuff. I could not get anything else to drop.
I just have
refused to buy
terrible.
them.
I just have terrible luck. Seriously, like I'll do my bonus rolls or for all the tier pieces, whatever. Or if it's a really good trinket, like every time I do an extra bonus roll on Butcher to try to get scales of Doom trinket, and I wouldn't get it. Like I just get gold every time. So this is I'm just like I don't know what to do. It makes me sad face. Just
Do better loot.
I have the worst luck when it comes to RNG type games. It is gross.
Remind
So-
me never to go to the casino with you ever.
No, in the casino. I only play card games, so that way I know I statistically have a better chance of winning rather than it coming down to luck. I don't know if using that word.
Statistically.
Well, statistically, if I play Pocket Aces, well, there's 7 people on the board, and I know that they're each have dealt. Okay, so moving
All
forward
I know
from,
is I won $900 the first time I played craps.
of course you did.
It was like the first time that I had gambled in Vegas.
See, this is luck for people.
And I was so drunk they threw us out of the casino.
What'd you do with the $900? Just buy a bunch of like alcohol and just keep drinking?
No, I was drunk when I started. I don't know. I woke up the next morning with $100 in my bra, and that's all I remember.
Okay, so you probably actually didn't win $900. Maybe someone besides
Probably.
you won $900.
No, actually, I went with a friend, and it was their money that I was gambling on, so they took
Oh,
the majority of it.
Oh my god.
Which makes sense.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary.
So anyways, from drunk Katie to world first race. As of right now, just double checking the wowprogress.com, still looks like both Method and Paragon are 9 of 10 mythic, with
Neck and neck.
28 other guilds sitting at 8 of 10. The guild killer, Blast Furnace. Obviously, there's got to be one every tier, and this is the one this tier. But like I said, I mentioned earlier from personal experience, even on Heroic, this fight is a serious step up in BlackRock Foundry in terms of difficulty, in terms of choreographing where everything needs to go. It's quite healer intensive. It's almost like a slight DPS check as well. And also there's that basically a soft enrage at the end as well. So it's a little bit of everything rolled into one. And I can't imagine on Mythic what that's like. I
don't even want to think about it.
I'm kind of glad I'm not in a guild that has to wipe on this thing. Like, I wish I would have looked up the stats. I don't know if I could find it this early on, but how many times people like Paragon and Method wiped on Blast Furnace until they finally downed it.
Their logs are probably like locked and private.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Right now.
I would imagine if I could take a stab at it, and I'll try to look into this as they release it later on, when it's, whoever wins. But I'm going to say somewhere upwards of, I'm going to say 400 times. I bet they wiped at least 400 times.
No way. I'd say 200 wipes.
I'd say about 400.
That's really high.
Well, that's a really hard encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a long.
It's a long
deep,
one too, right?
It's a long, deep encounter that things go
Right.
wrong at the end. It's not like Animus where you wipe in the first 45 seconds and you have
Right.
500 wipes on it.
Well, let's just
So.
say that it's like what, maybe a 12-minute fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe,
Yeah?
Give or take.
Well, 13's the enrage, so you're
Yeah,
you're
give
on
or
a
take,
time
so
you're on a
11.
time frame.
I mean, Maine's was pretty long too, right?
Yeah, and see, I would bet you were wiping a lot more in phase 2 than in phase 1 or 3. Probably it's not a quote unquote pushover once you get to phase 3, but I'm sure phase 2 is just ridiculously coordination heavy, all that kind of stuff. So
Well, I mean, let's
Yeah,
just say
phase
that.
three's kind of just riding it out.
Well, if they had an attempt, let's say they do 4 attempts an hour, with a little bit of running back and raid explanation or whatever, and accounting for small breaks here and there, and they raid 20 hours a day, you're looking at 80 attempts on that boss a day at 20 hours. So, and they got Blast Furnace in what, 2 days, right? After they got Maidens, was it 2 days?
Give or take. Something like that.
So it must be right around sub 200. So I was obviously way off there.
yeah, no 400 there.
All right, guys, we're gonna do some math here. So this episode
Just a
it's just gonna be
napkin
called math, and I'm gonna use this voice the whole time. So you're looking at maybe about 150 then, but still, 150 wipes at a guild that's that high of experience and rating at a high level, and the caliber of players that are on that team. That's a lot of wipes. Like that's a serious encounter. So you guys will see if you haven't done it yet. It sucks. It is not fun. Speaking of things that kind of suck, at least in my opinion, that's a pretty decent segue actually. BlackRock Foundry Release versus the 6.1 release, and the disconnect that the feel that you feel with it. At least I feel. I don't know how about you guys feel yet, but I mean, you get to figure BlackRock's been out for about 2 weeks, but still 6.1 hasn't released. Obviously, they're going to make adjustments with classes and tuning and everything else that Blizzard does, but is it just me or does it feel really weird?
I think so
It
as well. I think maybe we're just conditioned at this point that a release with a raid tier also means content and some patch fixes. And this is like a weird half tier type thing that they did with BlackRock Foundry being 8 weeks after Highmall. And of course, Blizzard won't ever release the patch until it's quote unquote ready.
Right.
But I think people were just expecting the patch to coincide with BlackRock Foundry. And now that it's going to be at least 3 weeks, because it's not today, it's going to be at least next week, people are grumbling or feeling weird, like you said.
And I totally agree. I think the conditioning has a lot to do, especially people that have been playing for a long time. You kind of expect a sizable raid along with a sizable patch. That's kind of like the exciting part. It's like Christmas Eve or even Christmas morning. It's like, okay, we have all this content now and a new raid, and my class has changed. Is this good or bad? Here's all these extra little things to do. But I guess in light of this, it kind of brings up the question: is Blizzard releasing content appropriately? So I started browsing around on the old interwebs, and I found an interesting article written by a gentleman named Scott Andrews, which Matt should know. Yep. He's a former WoW Insider writer. I believe he does now work for Blizzard Watch as well, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's also with Blizzard Watch. He's retained his position as the guy that's contributing the officer quarters columns for guild leaders and raid leaders and officers.
Cool. Well, he had a very interesting article that he posted a while back, and basically what he had done is he had proposed a raid or basically a scheduled release by month of content. So he put up basically an example release. So I'm going to rattle these off real quick so you guys get an idea of what I'm talking about. So they'd say December, let's just say of 2014, they releasing the expansions released. Okay. So January of 2015, you get a new scenario and a new battle pet content for people that like that kind of stuff. February rolls around, you get a new battleground and a new world boss. March will entail a new endgame quest line and a new 5-player dungeon, both tied to a new reputation with new profession recipes. April is a new raid tier with the legendary quest line. May brings in a new arena, a new PvP season, 2 new class-specific quest lines, including solo scenarios that unlock cosmetic glyphs or other types of cosmetics for transmog or whatever. June, a new endgame quest line area, such as like Throne of Thunder, tied into a realm-wide event to get everyone back in and playing together again. July would be a new battleground, another new 5-player dungeon, and again, new battle pet content. August is a new raid tier. You also would continue with the legendary quest line as per BlackRock Foundries now. September would be a new endgame quest line with scenarios, new profession recipes, and new world PvP content. October is a new arena, new PvP season again, and another new world boss for us that don't do a lot of PvP. November's 2 new 5-player dungeons, and then December would be a new raid tier continuation of the quest line. So what do you guys think of this setup? Now, before you answer, okay, let me just put out a disclaimer. I know you guys are going to be like, oh, it's too hard for Blizzard because the game's so big and there's so many bugs. And I mean, I get it, okay? But let's just look past that for a minute. Would you all be happy with a monthly content release schedule similar to what Scott had written about on WoW Insider?
For me, the way that rolls out, it kind of reminds me of stuff that I miss from Rift. And I know I refer to them a lot because they're another MMO that I spent a lot of time on.
She said it.
I do it all the time. But they would consistently release content on a monthly basis. Sometimes it was just world events, but the stuff that you could get out of there was relevant and not just frilly for the rating. And then they would have the smaller instances because they did 10 and 20 man. So they would do a 10 man here and a 20 man there and a 5 man here and this there. And it was nice as long as you never stopped playing. But when I came back to WoW and still tried to balance Rift and WoW at the same time, suddenly there were these gaps of I don't know how to catch up. And it created a disconnect. So if you never stop playing, and obviously for WoW and, Blizzard fans, a lot of people never do. And it rolls on really smoothly. But if you leave trying to come back, it hurts. You get lost in the kerfuffle, I guess. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Interesting. So you want to cater to more towards the casuals than the consistent subscribers? Is that what you're saying?
Go where the effort
Loaded
is
question.
always applied to where the dollar is,
Okay.
because this is a business. They got to make money. So
Okay, so
they put out the sweeping content, but
so to break it brass tacks, yes or no, would you like monthly content?
I would,
Yes.
because
okay.
I play
All right.
all the time. Like right now, I'm bored. I'm playing Destiny. I'm still playing
Ah.
Activision stuff, but I am bored to tears in WoW. I log on for raids and then I'm done. And I don't like that.
What about you, Matt? I know you're usually pretty strongly opinionated one side of the coin or the other.
Yeah, in this case, I'm not kind of on the fence, but I'm kind of leaning towards I appreciate the brief lulls. I appreciate the downtime in between major patches. Okay, I get that people are getting maybe bored or burned out or whatever, but you go back through the list again. Pet battles, PvP, endgame questing area. These are things that I don't really care that much about. So what difference does it make to me that it gets released once every couple months versus every month, where I'm not going to touch that stuff anyways? The only things I care about would be the raid tier and maybe the occasional 5-man or whatever. And based on that schedule above, it would only be relevant to me every 4 months, with the April with the raid tier and the August in the raid tier in that hypothetical sense. So that being said, I do think that a lot of players and guilds need time to go through content and just consume it. This stuff can be consumed in a month, but not everyone can do it in a month because not everyone has the same playing schedule. Not everyone plays 12 hours a week. Not everyone plays 30 hours a week or whatever. How much time? What is the average amount of time that it should take someone to play through and go through content at their own pace? Right? That's kind of the thing that is troubling me with this idea, is that you're now putting a timer on the amount of fun and stuff for people like us to do. And if you don't complete this thing within 30 days, we're dropping something new on you. Too bad. You can either keep up or you can finish the old thing, whatever. Do it at your own pace, however you want to do it. But just know that you might get left behind and you might not be able to experience all the fun, shiny stuff that comes out. So that's why I prefer a more quarterly release schedule, where every couple of months something big and awesome comes out. Maybe it's a little bit more bite-sized compared to the major patches, but it's something for everybody every so often, as opposed for something for 1 or 2 people every month.
Okay. So
and it may be our own biased with us, again, having been conditioned by Blizzard for so long on the
Spoiled.
patch schedules.
Spoiled.
Spoiled. There you go.
spoiled in a way.
But I mean, we're also all four of us are sort of more sophisticated WoW players, and so we're at the point.
Whoa,
Well,
buddy.
speaking for
Whoa.
myself at least.
I do put my pinky up when I drink my Mountain Dew during raids.
No, but we're already at the point where we've hit max level, which a lot of people aren't even at that point, and we're doing the rating. We're doing that top end piece of thing. You know, we could all be sitting around and doing a PvP show and be talking about how to get Gladiator and all that other kind of stuff. It'd be the same type of situation. But all of the other fluff around this whole game we may or may not care about. Like, I thought Pet Battles was a cool system. I just didn't get into it as much. But there are plenty of people who are just clamoring for more stuff in that system. And does Blizzard cater to them, or do they cater to us, or do they cater to the person who's still level 97 and, you know, excited to get to Nagrand soon? It's this kind of schedule with the monthly releases of stuff would be rough on, I guess, the casual, as Katie said, because you come into it and people are just so far ahead that new, you know, questing zone or whatever, that, you know, Isle of Keltanas, whatever, is now empty because all of us went through it and burnt through it in a week, and now we're off doing that new 5-man or something. So
You think they're gating us on purpose?
yes, because we consume it too quickly, and then we're like, what are we gonna do? What can I do?
So you're against the monthly release then?
I like it from the standpoint of keeping subs, so it would definitely keep people hanging around and not relapsing and not playing other games and all that other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it would probably not be a good long-term move for them.
Okay. So it seems like it's kind of split, I would say. Because I'm kind of for the monthly content because I like the fact that you can keep doing different things. And truth be told, you know, maybe we're not into the things we're into because we're so distracted by other things. So for example, like maybe we're not into pet battles because we're too busy raiding all the time. Or maybe we, you know, think about this. Like if they release PvP content, pet battles, a new raid instance, and say new scenarios for transmog gear. Okay. Which one are we going to do first? Raiding. We're going to do raiding, dummy. Of course we're going to raid.
Yeah, none of the other stuff, though.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
Right.
let's just say they didn't do the raid, but let's just say they did the scenarios for the transmog and PvP. Which one would you do?
None.
I don't believe that.
I'd
I would
probably
not
do the
log into the
scenarios.
game.
There
I
you
would just
go.
go do my garrison stuff.
Well, this is
That's it.
my point is that if they release it in small doses like this, you're probably going to be more apt to do those things because you're going to think, oh, it's new, it's something new to do, and I'm already doing the boring other stuff. How about I just spend a little time doing this as well?
But that assumes that people are interested in those things to begin with.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be interested in it, but it's just something new.
Right.
That
it's
might
something new.
that might spark my interest to begin with.
Yeah,
But
you
new
at least
Battlegrounds come
explore.
out. Ashran came out. I don't do those. I did it like once, and I never touched it again after that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care about it. I didn't
Well,
care
right.
about
I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm just saying, like a majority
Exactly.
of the players, I feel like if you release 5 or 6 major things at the same time, whoever, you know, whatever you guys are focused in, like for us, it's PVE. We're raiders. We're not
becomes
PvPers.
overbearing.
Exactly. Like we need to focus our time on PVE, not PvP. However, if they stagger it, maybe we could. Some people that are kind of on the fence that want to try these things but feel obligated to do one or the other fully can maybe now venture into the other side of it a little bit and maybe experience it in a way that they couldn't before. So that's just to kind of play devil's advocate a little bit there, you know what I mean? Just two kind of schools of thought. So, but we'll just
Yeah, that reminds me of an interesting post that Torvald put up. He was talking about people complaining about being forced to do stuff or there's nothing to do. And he puts this huge list of all the things that you can do in WoW and then follows it up with what people are probably actually doing and has like 4 things on it. So there's huge amounts of opportunity, but like you said, people narrow down to what piques their interest the most. Like in Miss Pandaria, challenge modes, I didn't do challenge modes until like deep into Throne of Thunder, and it was almost a year. before, I went back to do it. It was mostly just because like, well, it's a little easier. Yeah, I guess I do kind of want the new shiny because I didn't care about the title, but I wanted the transmog.
Right.
And then the mad rush of people are like, oh my God, it's going away. Suddenly I need to go get it. So there's the attractiveness of it being there and it piquing your interest to the attractiveness of it going away. That's when people did some of the pet battle Mad Dash, the Brawlers Guild Mad Dash. It's the hierarchy of appeal, I guess.
Well, I mean, you also got to figure too that I'm gonna wrap this up with this kind of something to leave you with thinking about in terms of Blizzard games. I mean, WoW doesn't compete with just PvE, RP, whatever. It competes with Diablo. It competes with StarCraft. It competes with Hearthstone. It competes with Heroes of the Storm. It's certainly going to compete with Overwatch. And it competes with every other single video game that's out there right now. So, it's not the question of releasing everything. At least for me, it's not a question of releasing everything all at once and then us, apple picking through what we want. It's, I would like it better if they release small as they went on. That way we're always constantly in the game. And not being like, well, I'm so sick of doing this crap. I guess I'll go play Diablo. And then all of a sudden I'm hooked in Diablo. And now I'm spending less time in WoW because now I'm spending more time in Diablo. See what I'm saying? Even though I'm still playing a Blizzard game, which I'm sure they don't mind, it's just the fact of the matter, So that's just something to, I mean, look at Sam. She's playing Destiny. See what I'm saying? That's the point. Like, how dare you play another game?
Shooter game in 8 years.
You are a WoW player. You are not allowed to play any other game.
But that's kind of how I treated it. Is that everything else has been
you filthy casual.
Casually. I know. I don't. But I can raid in Destiny, and I guess that's feeding. It's feeding the need that I'm not getting from Warcraft.
Yeah. So let's move forward here. Last thing, we got about 7 or 8 minutes here, so before we finish up the cast, I do want to talk about Washer's interview with Mammytwink, who are a couple of French casters, interviewers that pulled Washer aside and had about a 20-minute or so conversation with him about kind of the kind of a general Q&A, future content, garrisons, a little bit about 6-1 and BlackRock, and the ever so important flying, which I know everyone misses so much. Wah, wah. We'll get to that, though, before you guys get your panties in a twist there with your facial expressions. So the first thing that we'll cover here is featured content. Obviously, should come as no surprise to anyone listening to this that Blizzard is working on more sizable and proper content patches that will be coming up in the future. We already know that. That's something that they do every year in and year out. That's what keeps us playing the game. He also mentioned that there's going to be a lot of surprises and exciting stories coming in for patch 6.2. So not even to jump ahead. Guys, 6.1 was so yesterday. It's not even released yet. We don't even care. But 6.2 is going to be coming out. Yeah, 6.2 is going to introduce some interesting stuff. Now, here's my prediction. I'm going to think, I still am going to hold true to this, and I was talking to you guys about this in our Skype chat the other day, but I think Illidan is going to make a return in some way, shape, or form. Illidan will be around before the end of Warlords of Draenor. I will put money on it. So,
are we prepared for that?
You are not prepared. Trust me. It is going to be sick. And it's going to be like more of a redemption style thing. I think it's going to be more of a different face of Illidan than, because you got to remember, he won't be corrupted. See, it's going to be totally different. There's a lot of things I think you guys are going to be surprised about seeing coming around the corner, but that's just my prediction. But anyways, there's a lot of information that's laid out in Quest so far, and 6.1 obviously will add a little bit more to that as well. Reputations are going to be added as well. So if you guys are into rep stuff, there you go. Have that kind of thing.
Yay, more grinding.
Yay.
Yeah.
But
it'll get you out of your garrison.
But they're not dailies.
Garrisons? You don't want more stuff for garrisons? They actually mentioned that there's going to be a lot more reasons for you to visit a friend's garrison. Have you all been visiting your friends' garrisons?
I've visited a couple of my friends.
To mine.
Wow.
I'm so angry.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, now, I mean, I guess we already sort of knew this, too, because of all the world boss and the summoning this and doing that kind of stuff in your garrisons. So, that's coming in 6.1. Mm-hmm. And if you want even more friends, I guess they bounced around that whole idea of the guild garrison. I guess they also said probably not, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you as the guild leader get to set everything up, and or maybe your officers do, and then no one else really gets to play with it. So
So how's that
I
different
don't
than
know.
any other function of the guild?
Yeah, exactly. I guess they want to be more interactive and feel like it's your piece of land. I guess
Right.
that kind of is counterintuitive to the
But
point.
I could totally see like Matt setting up his garrison for his guild and like setting everything in the exact portion in the place, and then it's like
Yes.
some
Hey,
rogue just
feng
coming
shui
in and
is
like
very important.
I'm very meticulous about these things.
Yeah, like I'm the guy that's gonna go into your guild bank and just move a couple of things just to annoy you. You know.
yes.
And spell out vulgar words with the different stacks of materials.
Yes.
One thing I did want to mention too, and I'm gonna steal this from Katie, which sorry I'm gonna do it, but I feel like it needs to be said. They were considering adding more heirloom slots, but they don't want every slot filled with heirloom items because then they feel like the whole gearing process and finding items and doing dungeons and doing quests is kind of pointless. So
Which is interesting because the gear that you do get now, even with the bags because I level dungeon grinding, I'm very familiar with that kind of loot. Either you get some punk off class that steals your item that you really needed because you still have stuff from the, starting zone,
mhm,
or you get items that I've no use to you because I get agi gear for my DK all the time from those when I'm
right,
leveling. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me. For me, when I level lots of alts, it's a relief to like, I have these things and I don't have to worry about that. Or, but it gets boring because you look the same for,
exactly.
90 levels. So,
But I mean, with patch 6.1 is adding in the heirloom system, of course, blood elf models, hooray,
yay.
and content that gives you um, a little way of interacting with the world, apparently in a new way. So that's gonna be interesting with different rewards and a different maybe new mazes and puzzle games and stupid little things like that. So
Jumping games, yeah.
there's nothing like jumping
Love those
games
jumping
and those
games.
MMORPGs.
Especially as a fat panda.
Class tuning as well, but we already know those things are going to happen. And of course, patch 6.1 gave them a chance to polish character models and tweak them according to, of course, feedback given by the players themselves, which is really cool. So I know Katie's going to be really excited about all she's going to see with the Twitter integration. I can only imagine my tweet deck is going to be just full of achievement spam and stupid screenshots and look at this, look at that.
Selfies.
Oh God, it's gonna be gross.
Oh, it's gonna be glorious. I have to
It's,
say.
I finally went on and I got my little selfie camera. It's pretty funny.
God, did you get
Like
it?
I thought it was gonna be super stupid, but it's kind of the faces are funny.
Do you think we're gonna
They
get like
really
a
are.
selfie stick of some form?
Maybe. That'll probably be like a
God,
trash item.
God, how
We
terrible is
have
that?
Doge Stone, so why wouldn't we get a selfie stick?
Mm. Um, Obviously BlackRock Foundry. I know Matt, you want to hit this up real quick, so
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
get a
mention
couple
it really
minutes here
quick.
and then we'll finish up.
Yeah, BlackRock Foundry. I don't think I've seen that much in the way of negative feedback. It seems to be well received by everyone across the board, from normal raiders, heroic raiders, and mythic raiders. And I know the devs mentioned that it's a great looking environment. Feels like an actual legit place, not just something slapped together, not an area meant specifically for a raid. But hey, this raid has a purpose within the grand scheme of things. So what they did want to comment on was the difficulty in the fact that some of the fights on normal appear to be tuned a little too high and a little too challenging for some players that came directly from normal high mall. Otherwise, the progression in the other difficulty modes appear to be on pace with what they were expecting.
So what about flying as well? I mean,
Ah, flying. Yeah. Remember that little awesome discussion we had back in the day?
yeah, I do.
Feels like I lost that. You know why I lost that? Because the team is satisfied, the development team that is satisfied with not being able to fly in Draenor right now. Uh, Largely because it allows the world to feel larger and dangerous. Like I'm on a PvP server. I shouldn't be complaining about that, but that's my vote. That's my
That
vote.
is the worst
That is
excuse
totally
ever
I know.
to
It's my
advocate
vote.
for flying
I was
because you
kidding. I was
chose
kidding.
that PvP
I
server.
did choose it. But back when I chose it, the faction balance was even. Now it's yeah. Anyways,
Oh,
enough
and
griping about PvP. However, speaking of traveling, travel should be convenient. That's what they have been trying to lead towards. And in the next patch, hopefully in a couple weeks, more flight path improvements will be coming our way. I don't know if that means more actual flight path points or just quicker travel times or a combination thereof.
It's supposed to
So
be direct.
direct. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
A couple of
instead
those.
of having to fly around in a circle, you're just supposed to go from A to B instead of A to X before you get back to B.
Oh, that's lovely. All right.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, things like quests. Quests that have you rescue prisoners from cages, like Corky. They require you to fight through the camp to get to the cage instead of simply flying over a barrier or a wall and then flying out, like a quick extraction, which kind of ruins the point of that quest to begin with, right?
Right.
So that's kind of one of the
Yeah,
reasons why
but how
they
is that
shut
any
down that.
different from, classes that can sneak in and do it? Other
Let
than
me
they
tell
can't
you, it
sneak back
doesn't
out?
change much. Because I'm like, because it's funny because when I leveled my rogue, everything with certain quests were like, well, this is stupid. And then I was leveling my paladin, I was like, oh, okay. I actually have to kill things in here, and like, there's actually stuff around to kill me.
This is probably why they added extra quest things where instead of you just clicking the cage and rescuing the guy, you got to kill his bodyguards and 5 dudes and
Right.
find 5 diamonds on the ground before you can rescue him.
Right,
Yeah.
and that
Or
makes
find the
sense.
key off one of the guards at random.
Oh yes, of course, you gotta have one of those.
Mm.
Go kill, collect.
One thing that I
With the 10% drop rate.
Oh, exactly.
Sick.
one thing that I did think was interesting that they mentioned is that if they do put in flying, they would put it for the current content, but not for the new stuff, which, we're kind of familiar with Isle of Thunder, with the Timeless Isle, that sort of thing. Keldanis. And I think that's an acceptable, I guess, agree to disagree kind of point where like, here, we'll make this stuff faster for you, but not the new stuff. You're gonna have to slog through those mobs and kill them all.
Are we still all happy with this, with being on the ground or not? I'm a no.
I'm still okay
No.
with it. Truth be
I want my
told.
wings, damn it. I spent good money on that stuff.
I mean, I think the reason
I
why
respect it for what it is, but that doesn't mean I have to like it.
I think the reason why I like it so much is just because it gives me a kind of a blast from the past. You know what I mean? Knowing when, back when flying wasn't around, and it was kind of nice to be able to see more people running around, and it feels more populated now. And even though the content is smaller, and yes, we're only seeing half the world in Draenor, it just feels like it's better. I don't know. That's just me. All right, so shout outs real quick, guys. I know Matt never has a shout out, so yay, Matt. Shout out to all the horde on Matt's realm. And I will
Seriously,
give you
man?
his real ID if you guys message me, so you can find him no matter where he is. Katie, do you have a shout out for show? Womp womp. Okay. Will, do you have anything?
Yeah, just all the log analysis tools out there. There are many of them. Ask Mr. Robot, World of Logs, and Warcraft Logs. All super helpful as people work through this progression time. So
That is
Yay.
actually very true. As for me, nothing too big. Just a big shout out for all you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. For all you guys that are sticking around even through this transitional process. Thank you to D20 Crit, Will, and Dave specifically for helping me set up all this stuff. And you guys have been very, very helpful. So thank you guys so much. And also to Mark as well, for the amazing overlay. If you haven't checked him out, Whammo_Open Raid. He's setting up his own website so you can go get some designs through him if you guys want to have your own podcast. But that wraps up episode number 2 of The Edge. If you like the show, please give it a 5-star rating on iTunes and Stitcher. Also leave a comment. We'd like to hear from you guys. All 5-star comments obviously will be right on the stream towards the end once we start piling those up. Additionally, follow the show's Twitter at TheEdge_podcast and our Twitch, The Edge Podcast, to keep up to date when we go live. You can always find us at d20cricket.com. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you guys next week.
I rolled a 20.